Well, won't you look at that? Another Andor trailer has dropped. Do you want to talk about it, Draugr?
I mean, I guess so.
Anyway, so let's talk about Andor. This is a TV series that I am looking forward to, but also I don't know how high my hopes should be for it.
I mean, most of the stuff that Lucasfilm slash Disney has put out in general, I would say isn't super great. I haven't hated watching any of it though, except for a couple of movies that I won't name. But the actual Rogue One movie was probably one of the best things that they made. So Andor being a piece of that and kind of a prequel forerunner to the Rogue One movie, I think it could be worth a watch. So
So the thing I'm actually looking forward to here is that it's not going to fulfill everything I want, right? I already know that it's not going to
hmm
be the thing that I want it to be in the way of like so imagine in Han Solo, I know we talked about this before off the air. So in Han Solo, at the beginning where Han Solo goes ahead and he's fighting the battles in the trenches, in the mud on that planet before
hmm
he because he joined the army, there is all like in the trenches fighting and stuff like that. It looked
hmm
really cool, and I'd love to have that
hmm
gritty, like like World War kind of combat type, like World War II type of thing or whatever. That idea
hmm
because that's a lot of what Star Wars combat has been based off anyway. Is like that, like
hmm
combat stuff would be cool. A more like war movie, Star Wars. But this is close. I feel like this is getting closer to it in a way of exploring something that isn't force powers. I didn't really see anything about force powers in there. This
hmm
is just about people, kind of like how Rogue One was. So I'm actually kind of really excited about that aspect. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, I would totally be down with pretty much anything that put more wars in Star Wars.
mhm. So moving on from that, what do you think about this particular series, Draugr? Do you think it's going to be a series of essentially focusing on like the that current time period him as adult? It looked like he maybe was a kid, and they're kind of like jumping back and forth, or just having it as like a kid start to kind of show why he's.
I'm Yeah, I'm guessing it's like the beginning. It just shows him younger. That would be my guess anyway. I don't know, but
I was thinking they might jump back and forth because I was thinking about in the way of how they
maybe.
did with Boba Fett. They did a lot of jumping back and forth with that series.
True.
And I think they could do that with this to kind of show he's basically the entire story is about him doing one of these missions or something, and he keeps on jumping back to his past and remembering like why he's doing this and stuff like that. I'm not saying it would be that's not how I would do it, but that was one way they could do it. I'm hoping that they actually just
hmm
get it out of the way in the front and then they jump to the present
hmm
because sometimes going back and forth kind of gets on my nerves a little bit because it's just like jumping all over the place.
Yeah. I can. I didn't have an issue with that in Boba Fett, but I have had an issue with that in other shows. The biggest thing that jumps to mind is the first season of The Witcher. I I could follow along with it okay, but I just thought it was a really dumb way of telling a story backwards. Like it seemed odd to me, but
Oh, by the way, for The Witcher, as I haven't finished season one yet, I think I haven't. No, I did. I finished season one. I felt like the thing was that bothered me most about that is that they didn't tell you that there were different timelines until later, and then that's where I was
right.
like,
You had to figure it out as you went along, yeah.
yeah, I
And
was,
I was able to follow that, but that doesn't mean it wasn't annoying.
yeah, I was like, wait a second. You start putting like, why is he here and this is happening and that, and then you're like, oh, sidetracking yourselves. But anyway, I totally agree. I hope
Yeah.
they just, maybe they can do a good job at it or whatever. What I did see though, when he looks like, I think it's when he's a kid because you see, what you do see is you see phase three, I think, clone trooper armor, helmets and stuff like that. Not
Yeah. Mhm.
not Imperial, because they phased
Right.
out the clone troopers pretty quickly. I from what I've heard with in Star Wars, I'm not like an archivist, but I believe they phased out that with the clones pretty quickly. So I would be surprised. of seeing them, unless they're just showing them like in the initial start. But my assumption is this is maybe the Republic kicking out the Separatists and stuff like that, and that's like on his planet for Andor on his planet, and he is like, you know, seeing the oppressiveness of like from his perspective of the Republic.
That would be my guess. Um, I don't know what the timeline is for this show and or his life Andor. But yeah, I don't know if it's because I mean it's 20 years roughly in between the two trilogies, and obviously Rogue One is the literally the beginning of the the original trilogy. So where this falls, whether it leads up to Rogue One or whether it might take place 5 to 10 years before Rogue One, it's kind of hard to say. But um, yeah, I don't know. My guess is that would be in the flashback because in most of the other things like the Clone Wars and which led into Rebels and Bad Batch, I think a lot of that armor got phased out pretty quickly, if I recall correctly. But it's been a bit since I watched that, so um, yeah.
I also saw that there was if you watch the trailer, I noticed it kind of has a that gritty look,
Yeah.
just like Rogue One did. I kind of like it. It
Hmm.
kind of gives it a different, distinct look from the whole Star Wars thing. We don't, it's a different perspective, different way of trying things. I think that's one of the things with Star Wars. A lot of it feels a lot more similar, and I feel that one of the benefits with in the Marvel movies and stuff like that is that they can kind of go all over the place. Different styles and things more.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. I think I like it, and I also think that it's a good way of showing, first of all, that Star Wars, the universe, is a very gritty place for the most part, and the only place where you do see nice, shiny, clean is like the Senate and the senator, apartments or whatever, and then also the inside of the fanciest imperial offices and that kind of thing. But otherwise, very gritty. People are dirty, places are dirty, vehicles are dirty, everything's a little patched together, worn out. That's the way it's supposed to look typically, especially being that this era is literally right after the Clone Wars when, maybe there might be, economic depressions and that kind of thing.
yeah,
That would be my guess
this show also seems like it's probably going to get into some of the political stuff. As you see, there's the Senate and
anyway. Yep.
everything else there, so
Yep.
it might also focus on some of the like,
Mon Mothma.
yeah, the hardships that people have had to endure. Because I mean, in reality, you can't be having all that war going on and not be affecting like trades and all the other stuff, like everything. Just
Right.
like, I'm sure it would be hard on the everyday person. I mean, we're not talking about like Warhammer 40K issues, but it'd still be annoying to deal with, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah. Um, so yeah, the things that I'm looking forward to or somewhat excited about is um, Saw Gerrera. He was in this trailer, and so he'll be in this a little bit. I think that'll be pretty cool. I'm also looking forward to. He hasn't been shown, but I think you said that you saw his name in some credits. Was Alan Tudyk, which is playing K2SO, which is the robot from Rogue One, which he was my favorite part. So um, maybe it shows like how Andor procures him from the Imperials, and I think that'll be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, and then you have Stellar. I forget how to say his name. Skagard.
Oh, Skarsgård.
Skarsgård. So Stellar
Hmm.
Skarsgård is going to be playing like a an imperial senator. It looks like so. It looks like he's kind of turncoating against the empire. So this is kind of interesting, and his interaction with Mon Mothma. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. I look forward to watching it. If it's if we might be doing reviews on each episode, depending on how things go, and we can bash it or say good things about it.
Right. Thanks for listening. If you liked what you heard, click that subscribe button and let us know if you would like us to review and comment on the episodes for the upcoming series Andor.